Did Nitish Kumar just manage to avert a Maharashtra in Bihar? बिहार में आज बवाल भी है और बदलाव भी है as Nitish Kumar resigns as chief minister and does a ghar wapsi to the RJD. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo story, and this is, of course, the big political focus. This evening, Nitish Kumar submitting his resignation to the governor of Bihar and emerging in public, almost hand in hand, metaphorically, with Tejashwi Yadav, who had once called him Paltu Chacha for the flip flops that Mr. Kumar has been doing over the years. Remember, this is the second time in 8 years that Nitish Kumar has actually dumped the BJP. This time, sources in the Janata Dal United say that the BJP was hell bent on weakening Nitish Kumar and then calling him effectively too weak. That a Maharashtra would have taken place in Bihar had Nitish Kumar not acted first. Nitish Kumar has been feeling undermined by the BJP ever since Chirag Paswan was seen to be a proxy for the BJP, something that Mr. Paswan has always denied. But this is the very peculiar situation. Nitish Kumar has 43 seats in the assembly, and Tejashwi Yadav's RJD now has 79, 75 that it won in the assembly elections, and four others from the MIM that crossed over. So, as these two leaders come together, what will the new government of Bihar look like, and what will be the impact on national politics? That is our big focus on the program today. And let's introduce our guests on the show. We are joined on the program by Professor Ashwini Kumar, who is, of course, a political analyst at the Tata Institute of Social Sciences and from Bihar himself. Welcome to the program, sir. Sandeep Ghosh, a political analyst, commentator, is with us. We're also joined by veteran journalist, Mr. Anand Sahai, a senior journalist. It's great to see you on the program, sir. Welcome. And also joining us is someone who does well with the numbers to tell us the story about politics, Kartikeya Batra, a research scholar. Thank you very much, all of you. And let me start with you, Ashwini, because got to give the devil his due. I'm calling you the devil in this instance. On one of our previous programs, you had actually said that you expected this to happen. But unfortunately, Nitish Kumar's reputation had become a little bit like the boy who cries wolf. He would always suggest that he was going to do this and always stop at the last moment. What do you think has proved to be the tipping point? And how does this government, in a sense, look like where his partner, once again, it was earlier the BJP, this time the RJD, has actually all the clout because it has the greater numbers?
Baka, thank you very much. I guess you remember in 2020 after the counting, I said this is just a semi-final, and this is where let's go back and look at the numbers. Nitish reduced to 43, reduced to kind of a minor partner, but look what he did. I mean, like I'm reading Rahat Indori today, because it seems like it works well in Bihar. So let me quote him, from his couplet. जहां पर पहुंचना मैं चाहता था फॉर नीतीश कुमार व्हाट ही डिड जहां पर पहुंचना मैं चाहता था वहां पहुंच जाना चाहिए था हमारा जख्म पुराना है चरागर भी पुराना चाहिए था तो when you look at Nitish Kumar and look at the structure of politics in Bihar, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. And I'm also looking at how the structures of politics constrain BJP to grow more. This is the big challenge for BJP. For Nitish Kumar, going back to Tejaswi, as you remember, I wrote in a large piece where I was talking about rise of Tejaswi. So this is where Nitish, although is aging, but you remember on our show I referred to IPL 6. Nitish keeps coming back in the final over and then hits a six, whether it becomes a victory or whether he loses the game. But in Bihar, today I tweeted, the old American style of winning and losing or zero sum game doesn't work in Bihar, at least as far as I know, historically speaking also. So for
But
me, the bigger
you are
challenge.
suggesting that he's like some Javed, that last famous last over in the Javed Mirdad ball just pe chakka mara. But the point is this a six? Is this a six, or has he simply survived to live another day, as they say?
No, Barkha, if you look at the political trajectory, the three were Nitish and Lalu have been real good friends, since the JP days, emergency days. And now look at 40 years down the line, walking over to his house, shaking hand with, Tejaswi. I think this is where, Nitish has shown maturity, much larger, political perspective rather than what people call him, example of political opportunism, lack of credibility, etc., etc. So what I want to convey to you and my fellow colleagues on the panel, that Bihar seems to be in a post-Mandal phase, but radically altered post-Mandal phase. There is a continuity with the Mandal phase in the sense of caste census. Look at caste census, which would have potentially derailed Nitish agenda. And this is where Nitish ne kya kaha tha, he wanted Bihar, and rather than Bihar, if he had delayed for a day or 48 hours, Maharashtra model would have been replicated there. This was in Patna, the biggest gossip in Patna, that Nitish really hit the six at the crucial time
Okay.
when BJP was yeah. So
Okay. Okay.
what I'm suggesting, yeah. So what
Yeah.
I'm suggesting, just a moment, yeah, just a moment. So this is something, what has happened today in Bihar will have larger national implication. So let us look
let's
at
let's 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 get to the
2024.
national hang on, let's get to the
Okay,
national implications a little later. Let's first look at the implications for Bihar, and I want to bring in
okay.
Sandeep, and then I'll go to Mr. Sahai, because Sandeep, is this a chakka, is this a sixer, is this the clinching sort of victory taken in the last over of the match, just when it looked like it could be all over? You had an RCP Singh, who used to be a minister in the Modi government, Nitish Kumar, leaving Nitish Kumar. Nitish Kumar was said to be extremely upset at the lack of representation for his party members in the central government. And in a way, he saw the writing on the wall, and especially perhaps after Maharashtra, he saw the writing on the wall. He was already diminished with his steep drop in the last elections. And one of his party colleagues told me, and I'll quote him without taking his name. He said, "ये क्या इंसाफ हुआ बरखा कि आप पहले एक इंसान को वीकन करिए और आप फिर उनको कहिए ये तो कितने वीक है." Is that what has happened here?
Barkha, first of all, I think today is Nitish is incidental. It's Tejashwi Yadav's day.
I
He
agree.
has proven, he has come in, and I would say, if at all a comparison can be drawn, he is now the Devendra Fadnavis of Bihar. He has proven himself, I think today as the rightful successor of Lalu, of the whole, that mantle of the Yadav clan. And I think the credit must first go to him. Nitish, I think what we can credit him with is a sense of realism. He understands his limitations now. He understands that he is no longer Dhoni. He has to, he's a captain who is still in the team, and he has to make the most of his remaining slog overs. He's basically trying to push his sell by date. And like in 2014, he had, gambled against BJP or NDA not getting a majority, and then he emerging as an opposition candidate. This is the kind of gamble he'll put. As far as Bihar is concerned, I think his innings is over. This is just the last few, and I wouldn't be surprised if before 2024, Tejaswi moves forward, telling him, okay, you go to Delhi and try your luck there for the Lok Sabha elections. But as far as Bihar, I don't see him really having. He's a spent force there, and I feel sorry on that count, because Nitish had the mandate to leave a strong legacy behind. What he'll be remembered today is for as this flip flop opportunism. And look at the irony. He came into Bihar as the ending the Jungle Raj, and today Tejashwi Yadav is getting the home ministry. So you're going full circle out there. And even in the short period when he was together with RJD, Bihar's law and order had collapsed at that point in time. So his legacy will be totally wiped out. So as a person, he'll be coming through, he has earlier mocked people like George Fernandez and even to some extent Sharad Yadav, though Sharad Yadav was now praising him. But I think he'll also cut a very sorry figure when he leaves politics.
That's a very interesting perspective, Sandeep, to actually say that this is Tejasvi Yadav's day. And in many ways, I actually agree with you. Nitish Kumar has survived. He has contained what could have been a kind of a takeover of the kind that Mr. Fadnavis has managed to stitch together in Maharashtra. It's very interesting that you would describe him as the Devendra Fadnavis of Maharashtra. Mr. Anand Sahai, would you agree that in some ways this is a government where already there's talk of a rotational chief minister? Tejasvi Yadav isn't going to agree to support Nitish Kumar without his pound of flesh. Possibly he steps in after a year or so to be chief minister. But let's remember that Nitish Kumar has gone from being the junior partner to one party to being the junior partner to another party. What has really changed, Anand Sahai?
See, what has changed, I think, is the larger ideological tilt as we move towards the next general election. If BJP and Nitish were in power together, as they were until only a few hours ago, then the map, the when the poll results came after the next election, the map would look different. Today, that that attracts a kind of question mark. So to that extent, the events of today will likely impact what happens in the next Lok Sabha poll in Bihar. That's one. Two, I think I share many of the views expressed so far, even the one which suggests that it's not quite clear at this stage whether Nitish would remain
Hmm.
the guy in the saddle for the next 2 years. Now
Right.
that is a possibility, but I think this young man, the young Yadav, who could well have been the CM soon after the election. I mean, you can argue about how the role played by the that OAC party and so on, but the numbers were quite narrow. He could just have pulled through. Well, all that can be argued, but decidedly, as far as the as generational change is concerned in politics, I think he is the number one man to watch, not only in Bihar but also in the northern states as a
Yeah.
whole.
Yeah, I
So,
think that's a
so,
great
so
point that you make. That in a way it is the emergence. I think you're all making that point. Maybe not Ashwini, but certainly both Sandeep Ghosh and Anand Sahai making the point that it is really a moment where Nitish had to show the finally the decisiveness to walk away from the BJP. But actually, none of this moment would have been possible without Tejasvi Yadav. That said, Ashwini, there was that Eid party that took place, the Iftar party. I think we have pictures of it somewhere where Nitish Kumar goes across. Those are the images from the recent Iftar party, and speculation starts Nitish is going to leave. However, Nitish's reputation has really taken a knock over the years, with Tejaswi himself describing Nitish as Paltu Chacha. How does Nitish, keep any sort of relevance alive? Or do you agree with Sandeep that having hit the sixer off the last ball, he himself is over? He's fighting maybe for some sort of vestiges of legacy, but he himself is over. Do you agree with that, Ashwini?
Barkha, in 2022 election analysis, we discussed it at length, rise of Tejasvi. You remember that within a span of 20 days, Tejasvi emerged, a very charismatic leader. In fact, I was pinning my hopes. My analysis indicated that Tejasvi will, pass the game, but it didn't happen. There was a very narrow contest. And for me, politically also, looking at, the whole JP generation, the whole generational shift, what we call demographic political shift, that has happened in Bihar. So in some way, that continuity I referred to, and also, it is signaling the rise of a very charismatic young leader in Bihar. So, sum and substance of what I'm trying to convey to the panel is that indeed Bihar is on the cusp of a large generational political change. So, Nitish shifting to RJD signals that shift. B, that also, refers to the structure of politics in Bihar. And this is where, 2024 election becomes very important. So
And
my
hold it. I'll come to 24. I'll come to 24. I don't want to shift focus
no. I'm
immediately.
not going to 24. And no, I'm not going to 24. What I'm looking at, the possibilities, the political possibilities, and this is where I guess, the Mandal agenda, or if you look at the Kamandal, somebody today from BJP referred to Kamandal, this is where the Kamandal faces the challenge in Bihar. If RJD, JDU, and other smaller outfits, including Sahani, if they come together and continue as a big chunk, a big block of politics, that will pose a major challenge
Okay.
to BJP
Okay,
within Bihar.
let's remind everybody that this has happened before. There has been a Mahagathbandhan. There was a time, that was the time when Prashant Kishore was also working with both of these parties till he then joined the JDU, then left to form a party of his own. So there's all of that taking place in the churn as well. But Kartike, as a sort of younger generation political pundit, if I were to bring you in, the fact is that Nitish Kumar, as Sandeep pointed out, as Anand Sahai pointed out, is enormously weakened. He's gone from being the junior partner to one party to being the junior partner to another party. But I think the question is does this signal an ideological shift? And can Nitish Kumar even be considered ideological anymore, given the number of times he's shifted?
Barkha, who is ideological anymore is the question.
Yeah.
I mean, let's call a spade. I mean, take the Congress, take Mamata Banerjee, and everybody today has sort of compromised their ideology in some way or the other. There's only a few parties that you can sort of say that who haven't compromised their ideology, and if that is realpolitik, then so be it. I mean, I don't have any qualms about it until the time it's not harming or damaging anybody. But I think that your initial premise that is this the last over, I don't think so. I mean, I think a lot is still to be seen, because we are at a point which is exactly where we were 5 years back when the presidential election had just happened or was about to happen, and Nitish Kumar had switched. And the same thing has happened immediate 5 years later. And we have a national election coming up 2 years from now. So I really don't think this is the last over. If at all, it's probably the end of one test match innings. And you probably have another innings to go, right? And I think the question now is Nitish Kumar ji in a position where this moment can bring together the opposition, which has especially been brutally decimated in the Hindi heartland? Because I think of Nitish Kumar ji not as a Bihar leader, but as a North India Hindi-speaking leader, which the opposition has so far been missing. And I think Arvind Kejriwal has a long way to go in terms of building a reputation pan-North India. So I see with Nitish Kumar ji a couple of things for the BJP at least. A, the state has gone, and now you have a non-BJP government in Bihar. More importantly, for 2024, you now have what in chemistry we call a free radical. A free radical is that chemical that can attach itself to any part of any compound. And what it can then do, we don't know. Right? So can Nitish Kumar be that free radical that now makes life difficult for the BJP, not just in Bihar, but also pan-North India? That to a large extent will depend on how maturely the opposition deals with this whole transfer. If they can build bridges and if they can ensure that this provides him with a national platform, he could probably be a challenger to Modi in 2024. But if this ends up with just bickering within Bihar and, trust deficit on portfolio management, Tejashwi ko deputy, usko CM, then you'll have a khichdi which will have really no impact, and this will come to really nothing. So I think the path from here is going to be one where the opposition can really capitalize on this or can really let it go completely. If this experiment, Barkha, fails now, then BJP will be very happy in Bihar. If these two don't make it work for the next 2-3 years, you will see that next time probably the BJP will do much better than it did in 2020. I will also add that Bihar's arithmetic, if you have a question for me later on that, it's very different from UP's arithmetic. And so far, the BJP has not been able to crack it without an alliance partner. And which is why I'm saying that if they mess it up this time, these two, the RJD and the JDU, then 2025 for the BJP in Bihar could be a much easier path than it ever has been.
Okay, hang on. Here's the point. I'm old enough to remember. There's a acute sense of deja vu I feel. Can we just mute Kartikeya and I'll take this question to Anand Sahai. There's an acute sense of deja vu I feel at the thought of Nitish Kumar being the face of an opposition. I don't know how many times I've heard this before, how many elections I've heard this before. I even remember, Sandeep, this will amuse you. Ramachandra Guha once doing a cover story, I think it was Outlook, and he was asked, who's the next Obama of India? And he said Nitish Kumar. Nitish Kumar has gone from being the darling of those who don't like the BJP to then being their pet peeve to now back to being a darling. Mr. Sahai, can this talk of Nitish Kumar emerging as a kind of North Indian phase that could galvanize the opposition? I mean, are pundits not getting ahead of themselves, Mr. Sahai?
I would say that I would regard that with some reservation at this point. I
Yeah.
think I would say that we should allow some play in Bihar also for mass politics to occur at this point. We don't know, since now the BJP is out of power, they might mount very serious challenge on the law and order question in order to get their president's rule idea through, if indeed that idea is a serious one. That's one thing. And what kind of counter public mobilization? I'm going beyond the realm of power politics, palace politics. So I think anyone who's stepping into power now will have to be alive to that question. That's one. Two, I think a fundamental reason for Nitish's weakness is the following: that since he himself does not come from a caste background, which is very dominant, like the Yadav caste, or uh, uh, and therefore he has always, in spite of his, sorry, do you want me to stop or something? No.
No, no, please go ahead.
Okay. Oh, sorry, that was a question. Somebody wanted to comment. But I would say that Nitish has crucially depended on upper caste votes or blocks to come with him in politics, and there BJP has been a great asset to him. With the BJP support not available anymore, then we do not know. Then he he has no upper caste base in Bihar, really speaking. Though even among the upper caste, he is a fairly respected person. All this business about Paltu Chacha, Avsarwadi, all this is actually true.
Hmm.
Nevertheless, is he a politician who is regarded with respect? Do people think he's a useless character? No, they don't. So I would not like comparisons with other states. They may criticize him very sharply, and I think that is due. That is due the kinds of things he has done, no doubt about that. But he is not a politician who, while he
Very
doesn't have
interesting point.
enough base to go on, he is not a person without respect in Bihar,
Let me bring in
in
Sandeep
public
on
life.
the. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting point. Also, on how Bihar stacks up, which Karthik also make the point that it stacks up in a different way from UP. And Ashwini is making the point again and again that we're in a post-Mandal era. I'm not sure whether that translates into we're in a post-caste era. Clearly, we're not. Tejashwi tried that. He tried to actually transcend the traditional caste politics or the caste base of his party. Sandeep, do you want to just jump right in first to the suggestion, and let's look at that question now, that this can re-energize a kind of decimated opposition that hasn't had one piece of good news in pretty much months when it comes to countering the BJP.
See, on the opposition front, I'll reserve my comments, and I'd say it's early days yet. Everybody gets very excited with even the flicker of some kind of an action in the opposition space, and they clutch at straws because really nothing is happening, and there is so much disappointment with Congress and the others. Nitish Kumar, as I tweeted early in the morning, the tragedy with some of these leaders are they all have national ambition, but they don't have a national vision, and for them therefore to rise above and make themselves be the face and which would be able to attract, they can somewhere jod tod ke rajniti mein they can be the compromise choice, something like, say, a Charan Singh or a Deve Gowda or something like that. But that's really doesn't give them the gravitas, the pull to be a long-term option. And I think these people are very content with that. If they get it, if Nitish Kumar becomes Prime Minister for two years, he'll be very happy and retire. So that's a different thing. But as far as Bihar is concerned, I totally agree with Karthikeyan and others. Bihar is still, a caste cauldron, and people have not come out of that. So, I have seen the reaction when I used to work in Bihar. If you told them about Lalu and RJD being corrupt, they'll say, "हाँ, corrupt तो है, लेकिन हमारा है." That sort of a thing. The Yadav factor is so strong they're willing to overlook that. And that is something that BJP has not been able to crack as yet, because BJP really doesn't have that kind of a tall leader and cutting across the caste factor. So,
It's interesting that the BJP needs Nitish and Nitish needs the BJP. To that extent, that's probably Sandeep explains why they survived as long as they did, because they weren't a great natural fit. They've had deep anxieties even before.
I agree with you on that. So I don't know how, though BJP, I think, realized that they have to at some stage go it alone. Now, whether they were prepared to do it right away, I'm not too sure about that. But Nitish was not a long-term ally. I think that was very clear from day one, and nobody would have pinned their hopes on Nitish being given his, past track record. As I say, Nitish is today the situation. On a facetious note, is like Liz Taylor's eighth husband. He knows what is to be done, but he doesn't know how to make it interesting. He's getting thrown in for the eighth time.
Oh yeah, well that could be reversed in gender as well. So I don't. You're of course speaking as a man there, but okay. But I take the point, but that you're making, that there is a sense of Nitish adrift without some other sort of set of caste configurations to bolster him. And the BJP has the same problem. I'm seeing Mayank Sinha of the JDU join us. Namaskar, Mayank ji. I'll come to you in a moment. Let me just get Ashwini and Kartikeya to make quick observations. Then we'll go to Mayank ji. Go ahead, Ashwini. You're the one with the faith in Nitish. This talk of Nitish Kumar emerging as some sort of opposition face, is he not too diminished now to be able to do that?
It's not a conversation with Kumar to Kumar. I'm also Kumar, but I'm Professor Kumar. Nothing to witness with Nitish Kumar. My disclaimer, politely and humbly. Yeah, my sense is here, Barkha, that I'm again looking at something. People who are looking at caste differently, but I'm a student of Rajni Kothari, so caste is a proxy for class, and caste class go together in Bihar. So there is nothing wrong about a caste politics, and there is a qualitative transformation in the mandal politics. So if you look at the lingo and the lingo of politics in Bihar, it's certainly different from conventional mandal politics. What I'm trying to convey here, that despite the shift here and there and the paltu here and there and opportunism, I think I look at this shift, the regime change. Let me use a term from political science, the regime change. This regime change is not the same regime change that happened in 2017, or this is not the regime change that we have looked at 2005, 2005 or 2015.
What is the difference?
The relationship here, that if you look at the rise of what I have been writing and talking about it, a new BJP system, a new party system.
So like Rajni Kothari spoke about the Congress system, we are now in the era of the BJP system. Now hold on, Professor Kumar. I just want to, sorry, I know I'm interrupting you, but we have Mayank, and see, we lost him. I was going to say we have Mayank Sinha for a short time and we lost him on cue. So I'll let you complete your sentence and then I'll come to Kartikeya.
No, but this is something that my small piece in Hindu triggered major debate in the discipline also, that to what extent BJP would try to become, if Rajni were around, he would say, from dominant party to hegemonic party, like dominating all over all the landscape.
I think we're almost there, but hold that thought, because we're getting into some sort of political philosophy here, and I think a lot of our viewers may be interested in the immediate, what's going to happen in Bihar, what's going to happen in 2024.
Give me the last bite. So this is here, from BJP, from dominant to hegemonic, at least within the context of Bihar, BJP needs a counter revolution. That's my understanding
Oh,
of Bihar. BJP
okay.
has failed to do the counter revolution in Bihar. That is where BJP is stuck with.
Okay, Karthike, you wanted to look at the numbers. If you want to just look at the numbers, but hang on. Sorry, I can't take the chance of losing Mayank. Mayank ji, नमस्कार. आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
You muted my mic, so
नहीं, we have not
yeah,
muted anybody. Can you hear me?
yeah, I hear to you.
अच्छा, ये बताइए सर कि ये सरकार तो बदलने वाली है, लेकिन जेडीयू के 43 सीट्स और आरजेडी की 79 अब, तो आप एक अलायंस में जहां आप जूनियर पार्टनर थे, आप दूसरी अलायंस में चले गए हैं जहां आप जूनियर पार्टनर हैं, तो आपके लिए और आपकी पार्टी के लिए क्या बदला है मयंक जी?
Alliance, in the alliance, there is no junior or senior partner. Alliance is alliance. And I am very thankful to all of you. The decision was, hello, the decision
Yes.
was taken by the Honorable CM in the interest of the Bihar.
Okay, you're on a terrible line. Let's try and reconnect with you. But it's very interesting. I caught the one sentence you said. You said alliance is alliance. कोई junior partner, कोई senior partner होता नहीं. Alliance तो alliance है. Kartiki, do you agree? You wanted to look at the numbers. I think we're seeing some sort of what's happening here. I can see Tejashwi Yadav. Is this a press conference that we're about to see? Okay, these are images of Tejashwi Yadav and Nitish Kumar's meeting, and they are scheduled to have a joint appearance soon. But Karthike, let's bring you in. Karthike, the
Barkha,
GDU spokesperson. Yeah, yeah.
I'll just pick up from what was said by Mr. Kumar. He said BJP has not even to do a counter revolution. It is very interesting why. Let's go to UP. How did the BJP make inroads into UP? They took care of two sections, the non-Yadav OBC and the non-Jatav Dalits in UP. अब आपको मैं बताऊं, बिहार में ये ऑलरेडी हो चुका है. Nitish Kumar has already done this. In Bihar, you have the non-Yadav EBCs, a vote bank that Nitish Kumar has cultivated, and the non-Paswan Mahadalits that he has already consolidated. So the BJP's template in UP was way back already completed by Nitish Kumar in Bihar. So what does the BJP do now in Bihar is the next big question, which is why the arithmetic becomes very tricky. In addition, Nitish Kumar has this overarching female vote that helped him sail through or get through, at least, I would not say sail through, but just scrape through in 2020. Which is why the math in Bihar for any sort of counter revolution is so difficult, because already you had a struggling casteless or a sort of not a very caste-based politician who was trying to assert himself, and he has exhausted a lot of the tricks that are already in the playbook, and the BJP is now left with very little. I also think that Nitish Kumar, despite being a leader who does not have any caste vote bank of his own, needs either one of the two allies. He's compatible with the RJD, he's compatible with the BJP, whereas the BJP is not compatible with the RJD. So somebody mentioned that they were getting the upper caste votes courtesy the BJP. If they don't get the upper caste votes courtesy the BJP, it's fine till the time they get the Yadav votes courtesy the RJD. It's a very simple flip, because 15% upper caste, 15% Yadav vote. It's a like for like swap. That's exactly what happened in 2015. So now what we have are two floating vote banks, which is the ECBs, the EBCs, and the non-Paswan Mahadalits. And my assessment is that Nitish Kumar has already solidly put them behind him through his own versions of welfareism. When we talk of Modi, we think of Hindutva. I disagree with that. It's not just Hindutva. It is welfareism, nationalism, Hindutva, all combined, right? So some of those factors have already been blunted by Nitish Kumar's own versions of welfareism, which is why the math in Bihar is much trickier, because I would again say you had a leader who was constrained by his own social base, who had to come up with new tricks from the playbook, which is already exhausted. That's what BJP did in UP, which it can't do in Bihar now because of this.
Okay, I get the like for like swap, but I'm less convinced about this galvanizing moment for the opposition,
No,
which
no,
is
no.
going
I
to
was just,
happen.
no, no, Barkha, don't get me wrong. I was saying it is possible. We also saw when Karnataka 2018 happened, the opposition came together. We know exactly what happened a year later. I am just saying it is a possibility. And also, Barkha, to your point, is Nitish Kumar discredited? Well, I am not saying he is the best possible candidate in absolute terms. But relatively speaking, who else do you see in North India? Name one leader. Name one Hindi speaking leader from the opposition who you see in North India. I can't see anybody. The one person I can think of is Mr. Kejriwal, but he has a long way to go. So the other person who we are left with is Nitish Kumar. I'm not saying he's the best, period. But I'm just saying, given the constraints that we have, probably he's the only
Okay,
choice that you might have
okay.
at some point.
Okay, I can see Rahul Verma of the Center for Policy Research, political cephalogist, with us. I think it's time in the last 15 minutes to move into what might be this impact, if any. Karthik is making this impassioned sort of argument, ki aur kaun hai? And a lot of times, people, even when people voted for Narendra Modi, sometimes they voted for him because they loved him. Sometimes they voted for him because they literally didn't see an option, and they said aur kaun hai? And you're implying the same sort of principle here, even to a diminished Nitish. Mr. Sahai, let's bring you in, and then I'll come to Rahul. Anand Sahai, the national impact, if any, does this re-energize the opposition, or is that just now a media cliche that is so tired? I've heard it so many times that even I'm bored with it.
I think it's partly a media creation at this point. But let me just revert very quickly, very briefly to something else that we've been talking about. I mean, no one person, but generally speaking, that this chap who does flip flops, Nitish Kumar, right? Now, hasn't BJP been doing flip flops in Bihar? You know, chap who dumps you, you get back to him. Hasn't RJD been doing flip flops? Who hasn't? So I think to make it stick only to Nitish. I mean, that's flip flop is like a disqualification sticking only to Nitish. I'm not entirely certain that we should go with that. What we should go with is looking at the very complex situation. Bihar is the only state in North India, not counting Punjab or not counting Jammu and Kashmir, where BJP has not come to power on its own. And I'm not counting, maybe I'm missing something, but if you look at the overall profile, and BJP by itself is not in a position to to get to that spot, not just yet anyway. Although it has a large following among the I would
Sure.
still go with upper caste. I respect Rajni Kothari. I mean, I have held a view of that sort myself, that in large parts of India, class and caste, I mean, they are not entirely coterminous, but yes, there is a strong argument to suggest that that could be the case. But
And I think it's
here,
a
I think,
fascinating thought that the BJP has pretty much replaced the Congress in what
yes,
Mr.
but
Kothari once
well,
called the Congress system.
I'm not quite there yet with that thought, though I think BJP has made very rapid strides. But
Yeah,
it's difficult. Tests have not yet come. BJP has managed, caste, arithmetic, coalitions, including those of
yeah.
Muslims,
No,
fairly,
no, no.
not too badly, if you ask me. In spite of
Yeah.
all of that, I think that that is some distance yet.
Okay.
But
Let me interrupt you there. Sorry. Kartikeya, your camera keeps going off. Could you stabilize there? I just want to bring in Sandeep briefly on the point that Mrs. Sahai made, and Rahul, I'm coming to you right after that. That flip flops. Does the voter care? I mean, the voter has internalized a degree of cynicism with politics. We've seen the BJP and the PDP, for example, famously or infamously form a government in the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir. You've seen the BJP, today lashing out at Nitish Kumar, but would have carried on with him had he not done this. So that's just the nature of politics. Does anybody really care about that except for media? I mean, public memory is short. I don't think if you went into the Aam Janta, people would remember even how many times Nitish has changed sides.
No, I don't think that is a consideration. You're right, as far as the people is concerned. They're not worried about flip flop, and rather sadly, people are less worried about corruption as well. But in Bihar, what I think is a very live issue is that of the law and order. People have really suffered during those Jungle Raj period. and they would very much worry if that were to come back. As far as JDU is concerned, my own sense is while whatever Kartikeya said, that is how Nitish came into power, the social engineering at the Mahagathbandhan level, going below the line, the women was a major factor. But I think there, it's now going to pay him diminishing returns. And today, I think that's where the electorate is very clear. They do not want anymore to waste their vote. So I think the relevance of JDU has reduced a lot. So if voters have to side, they will either go towards the RJD side or BJP side. There very little reason to now go on backing Nitish for what they were doing so long. At that point in time, Nitish was a counter to RJD. BJP
Yeah.
was not really a factor, but today BJP is a viable factor, and so has RJD now with young Tejashwi has proven that okay, it's again and back in the running. They were worried after Lalu who, but if he has done this, I see JDU getting squeezed out. So really speaking, the next fight will be, and that stage. I'll take half a minute more. I would be very surprised if you find Tejashwi also being very generous, either with Congress or Nitish, in terms of the seat allocations he'll do in the next election. Because he
And
would like to
yeah,
make himself the dominant party there. Yeah.
I think I actually think that's a very perceptive point, because I think there's a certain degree of cynicism in the RJD. Anand Sahai said, "Who's not changed sides?" Well, to be fair to the RJD, it has actually remained reasonably ideologically consistent, maybe because it has that loyal base, as it were, that the other parties don't. And we have to understand it also in terms of real politics. So, Rahul, since you've just joined us, there are two emerging narratives in this program. One that suggests that in the absence of any other sort of face that could stitch together the opposition, Nitish Kumar is naturally now placed to make that joust once again. And the other narrative that says if this day belongs to anybody, it's actually Tejashwi Yadav. That maybe this was an election that was his due, almost his due. In the last election, coalition arithmetic made it impossible, and now he's very much in the saddle, and he's going to look to be in the saddle going forward. Your take, Rahul?
Thank you, Barkha, for having me. If politics is art of survival, Nitish Kumar in some ways showing it again and again how to survive in politics. So yes, over the last 10 years, with continuous movement from this side to that side, has brought Nitish's charisma and brand value to a decline. What Nitish had in the pre-2010 phase, that's not the brand value of Nitish Kumar anymore. But will it impact the national politics? The answer is yes and no. The no, for the very simple reason that, as you rightly pointed out, it's anybody's game. Nitish Kumar at best can win 20 odd seats in Bihar, or 25 odd seats, right? And that he will be then just among 3 or 4 players who are going to have these many seats. Congress, of course, is likely to, I hope, cross that numbers. You will have Trinamool Congress, maybe Aam Aadmi Party making strides in some states. So with 25, 30 odd seats, I don't think any player is going to give another player a veto or walk over to lead the coalition. Why he still remains a contender is because I think there is some sort of narrative, being one of the chief ministers who had served the state more than 20 years, and he can still sort of like create a positive messaging about him, connect with his voters. But that's a long game. I think whether he can manage to become the face of the opposition in 2024, that's 2 years down the line, right? And what he manages to do in these 2 years, whether he gets constrained again, right? What Nitish Kumar perhaps is not being able. So basically, Nitish Kumar also indicates what the compulsion of a leader who does not have a strong social base, but has a head of a leader who wants to do what he wants to do. And right, so in some ways, Nitish Kumar with these things are also signaling that he's not a reliable ally who's going to stick through thick and thin. And so all of these are basically contradictory signals and messages. And to be able to say that This is going to happen after 2 years. I think it's far-fetched. We have to watch out how things are going to unfold. Nitish Kumar has certainly, see, all politicians, including Nitish Kumar, would like to always shuffle the cards. That's what players do. They stir the pot. So, given Nitish Kumar was on the back foot, since he came to power, he was trying to create more space for himself. He was trying to break from the mold of the stranglehold which BJP was putting. And perhaps this was now left as the last resort where he was left with no choice. But
Yeah.
going forward, I would still wait how this new coalition moves ahead.
And I think that's an important health warning that there's still 2 years to go for 2024. And you have to first see how much of Nitish is actually there in this particular immediate alliance with the RJD, or does Tejashwi Yadav come out trump and overshadow and already depleted brand Nitish? I'm going to try one more time. These are the pictures you're seeing from, of course, Bihar today, where Nitish Kumar and Tejashwi Yadav were hand in hand. And these are earlier pictures with the Prime Minister. And Rahul Verma making the interesting point about Nitish not being a dependable ally. मयंक जी, आपसे एक बारी और कोशिश कर रही हूँ, आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है? आप मुझे सुन पा रहे हैं मयंक जी? Well, I don't know. I hope things work better for Nitish Kumar than his party spokesperson's internet connections. That's certainly having a rough day. Sorry, Mayankji, we've tried. I was hoping to be third time lucky, but that hasn't happened. Kartikeya, you've got your hand up. Go for it.
Barkha, please don't misconstrue when I say that, he can be a pivot of the opposition, that he has to be the prime ministerial face. It's just important to have him in the opposition camp is what I'm saying. It's like Sharad Pawar, right? You know that you will never project him as the PM face, but having him in your camp has certain brand value, has certain value just politically. So I think I'm saying that what was missing from the opposition was this one big leader who has an administrative sort of experience and who has some political gravity and weight attached to him or her from the North Indian belt. With Nitish Kumar entering the opposition's fray, I think just the heft that he would bring, despite all concerns about him being discredited, I think that is important. So don't think that what I'm saying is limited to only him being the prime ministerial face. No, I think that has a lot of complications attached to it. But just having him in the opposition's camp as a player who will be probably working back channel talks, conversations, talking to other leaders, that has been missing. We've had this discussion on your show, how we've been missing that one glue in the opposition camp. So I think having someone who's a seasoned politician in North India and has, as Rahul said, the best survival instincts, that has a lot of value for the opposition just in itself. Forget about him being the PM candidate or the face, but just having him, I think, has a lot of value. That's what I was saying.
So old school politics, or a dose of old school politics, is back in the opposition camp. Let me start actually taking some concluding remarks. Rahul, since you've joined us late, let me go to you straight away. Do you see that point, that there is an asset, at least an asset gain for the opposition, an opposition that has not been actually able to outpace the BJP in any state up until now?
The crisis which opposition is in now, these bandages are not going to help. They may give us shy of relief. One leader here, one party there, 2 votes here, 2 votes there is not going to make a difference to the structure of competition. The way I would like to think about the politics is politics is structured by certain things. Leaders and parties are just one element of those structures. And in some ways, Nitish Kumar, now, of course, Kartikeya is right about heft and weight, but Nitish Kumar does not bring a new message, a new narrative, which is what opposition needs. The glue cannot be a leader who's being now in public eyes. Public memory might be short, but in North India, what Nitish Kumar has done in last 5-7 years by making this flip-flop will become a point of talking in villages, right? Humorous content will play out. Ki dal badlu na idhar ke na udhar ke, paltu ram, and all those things. So while public and you cannot, like when humor starts playing out with a leader, that leader cannot basically drive politics.
Well, that's an interesting counterfoil. Anand Sahai, let me bring you in, and then Professor Ashwini Kumar, and then Sandeep, because you said who isn't a paltu? Kaun nahi hai paltu ram? And Rahul says that actually once a politician becomes the butt of jokes, That's what happened with Rahul Gandhi, for instance. It's very difficult to re-emerge from that moment, and that Nitish has become something of a joke. You had a very different view. You said he's largely a liked figure. He's largely a politician who's taken seriously. Mr. Sahai?
I have not abandoned that view, not in the space of 5 minutes anyhow.
Sure.
But I do think that look at the Prime Minister. He paltoed on the farmers' agitation. He paltoed on 100 things since we first saw him as Prime Minister 8 years ago, right? The promises he made, the things he said he would do, and today the party is stuck with one single basic agenda to which people like to attach this for welfareism, this Labharthi business. I'm not entirely persuaded on that count. So it is, I think, the country. I don't want to sort of wade into this whole stream of what my thoughts are about how political processes have changed over the last few decades. I'm not getting into that. But I do think that somebody becoming the butt of joke and so on, yes. I mean, Rahul Gandhi did become a butt of jokes because entire social media, they completely organized, paid, 500,000 people paid to send out messages of a certain type. They were because they saw this guy as as a chap to watch out for, and so I don't think that what attached to Rahul Gandhi would attach to Nitish Kumar, and if it does, then to the same extent it might attach to lots of other people. So
Sure. But the
yeah,
more
so
brutal
so
truth,
yeah.
maybe the more brutal fact, perhaps, is that everybody loves a winner. And I think Sandeep made this point that the winner today is not Nitish. He's a survivor. A survivor, Professor Ashwini Kumar, is not the same thing as a winner. Do you agree with that? Sorry, hang on, sir. We have to unmute you, Professor Kumar. Hang on, give me a second.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm back here,
yeah, yeah.
Some of
Go
the
ahead, sir.
concluding remarks very briefly. Let's go back to Bihar. Look at the history of Bihar and the structure of politics in Bihar, and let's not too generalize it to other parts of India. So Bihar continues to pose a big challenge to all of us, or listeners, political scientists and pollster too. That Bihar has, Nitish, at least for the time being, energized politics. Energized politics, that includes opposition politics too. Yeah. B, politics is also, art of, passions. If Max Weber around listening to me, he would love this comment. Politics is also about passions. Nitish has really put little more fire into those passions. Three, what I'm trying to suggest here, maybe my colleagues on the panel would reflect on later, that if the caste census becomes a major issue in the next 24 months or 2 years, I think that will impact 2024, perhaps significantly, if not decisively. That's the message comes from Nitish Kumar.
That's a very interesting point, and we haven't spoken, Sandeep, about the caste census enough. It was one of the moments on which Nitish Kumar reached out, in fact, to Tejashwi Yadav. It's a major fault line, as it were, in the heartland. Your last thoughts, Sandeep?
My last thoughts are two. One very minor point of disagreement with, again, what Kartikeya is saying. I don't think Nitish, even if you compare him with Sharad Pawar has also done Paltu, but his credibility or heft is very different than what Nitish Kumar is. So if Nitish Kumar has been co-opted into the opposition firmament, it's a bit like, BJP goes and picks up some opposition leader from somewhere and puts him on the bench. It's a bit like that. It's a showcase acquisition. It's not really of any substantive value. And finally, taking on from what Dr. Ashwini Kumar said in the beginning about Nitish's relationship with Lalu, going back a long way and almost personal and family, I would think that Nitish may actually see Tejashwi as his, godchild or some sort of a successor in that sense, and put his legacy into Tejashwi to carry on in the absence of his own dynastic line.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Karthike, I'll give Rahul the last word and bring you in. But I remember during the elections interviewing Tejashwi Yadav in the corridor of his residence in Patna, and there's a corridor where there are a whole lot of photographs, and I was actually quite surprised that with all the hostility and the name calling between the two sides, Tejashwi Yadav had a bunch of photographs of Nitish Kumar actually up on his wall, and he never in fact brought them down. And I found that kind of interesting, especially for the kind of political environment we now live in. Kartike, before I give Rahul the last word briefly.
Barkha, whatever I'm saying might fall flat on its face, because all I'm saying is this could happen, that might happen. And a lot of what I'm saying is completely predicated on the way the larger opposition behaves in the next few months. And so, which is why I am myself throwing caution at what I'm saying, that it might completely, but I'm saying these are possibilities, right? I feel that I'll just take on from what Mr. Sahai said. See, Rahul Gandhi could easily become a butt of jokes because there was no other thing you could associate him with. Name one administrative achievement that he has. Name one tangible way in which he has connected with people. There is nothing, unfortunately. He was never in position of power and he doesn't have anything to his credit. Whereas with Nitish Kumar, even if he becomes a butt of joke, you can always spin it around by throwing a counter narrative that, okay, fine, but XYZ, he has done, all these things. But Mamta Banerjee did the Durga Chalisa, for God's sake, right? But, there were other things that came about to sort of counter that flip also. So I think that anybody who's been in position of power and has established that connect of governance and welfareism has a lot to counter such negativity. I think the Prime Minister is a very good example, and I think there are other leaders across the country. There is no dearth of leaders who are being ridiculed and who are being panned, and not even journalists actually. But then if you have something to talk about in terms of your credentials, and if you have something to talk about your governance, I think that takes care of that to a large extent. So I still feel the opposition can make good use of this showcase asset, as Mr. Ghosh is saying, and can probably turn it into some sort of a performing asset. What capacity, I don't know. How much, I don't know. But with what the opposition is doing, anything positive probably is something that you should latch on to. Clutching at straws, I don't think is an option. You just have to do it because you're in that position.
Okay, great analogies and metaphors here about showcase acquisitions becoming performing assets, with the opposition being pretty much of an NPA nationally, at least. Let me give the last word to you, Rahul. Body of work is an interesting point. Let's also not take away from the fact that survival as a skill should not be underestimated. Sharad Pawar is also another great survivor. And I agree with Sandeep that the heft is a kind of incomparable heft. But please, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. If Nitish Kumar does get sworn in and he is the chief minister till Tejashwi Yadav takes his pound of flesh and steps in, what will it be? The fifth? I mean, it would be kind of the fifth time running if you add up the numbers. Eighth time overall, but fifth time consecutively. Yeah. Right? Am I right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's no mean feat. Rahul, last word to you.
So, Barkha, at no moment I would undermine, as a student of politics and as a student of Ashwini Kumar from test days, I would never undermine politics of survival and politics of passion. And the reason is following. See, all politicians also work under certain constraint. So what Nitish Kumar is doing for himself and his party and his legacy is trying to preempt a counter strike that he sees will happen in 2024. So he was cornered in 2020 elections. And since then, what he's trying to do is create space for himself by first splitting Chirag Paswan's party, then trying to get MLAs from there and here. So a politician like Nitish Kumar doesn't like to be cornered. You have to always understand politicians as also individuals and human beings. He's making a calculation that now, given things have reached at this stage where the parting of ways between BJP and JDU is inevitable, BJP will like to play or emerge as the bigger player in Bihar politics. So what he's trying to do by playing these cards or making the flip-flop is trying to re-energize Bihar or re-energize Bihar's politics in its own words, and trying to also create momentum for his own legacy. Now, coming to the second point, which is when do leaders become butt of joke, right? And that's where I said there is 2 years time. So Paltu Ram itself won't do things, right? Modi leaders always take 3 steps forward and 4 or 2 steps backward. it depends what they do in the aftermath. So if Nitish Kumar manages to, he wants caste census to become one of the dominating narrative in run up to 2024, but it won't become because Nitish Kumar wants it. Nitish Kumar and others will have to work towards it. And if Nitish Kumar succeeds in basically re-energizing the fault line of Indian politics on caste, then of course he will be basically galvanizing the opposition around him. Nobody gives power or position on the platter.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
work towards to take it. So opposition will not consider Nitish Kumar as his leader, as Kartikeya rightly point out. But Nitish Kumar as a politician would always want, or not would always, but may have ambition to emerge as the focal point of
Yeah.
opposition coalition. And he will have to work towards it going forward.
And I was just going to say that the bottom line might well be that Nitish Kumar may or may not energize or re-energize the opposition, but he certainly has to re-energize himself. He has been, for those who have followed his career, been literally living in the shadows of the Nitish Kumar that many people remember from years gone by. So his journey towards the next phase, if there is one, will have to start with his self re-energization. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Leaving it there, Anand Sahai, Professor Ashwini Kumar, Kartikeya Batra, Sandeep Ghosh, and Rahul Verma. Thank you to our audience and have a great evening. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.